See that? That's a picture of me crying on the internet. That was me crying over some friend stuff that was going on a couple of years ago. I was crying next to a tree like a little baby. You're gonna see why I showed you that picture here in just a second, because today we're gonna talk about why it's so hard to make friends with other dudes nowadays. Seems like all of our dads and grandfathers just made friends naturally at the bar or at work, working in the steel mills or on the farm or whatever. But nowadays, with the age of the internet, it's a lot harder and everybody seems a little bit more lonely, and you might be feeling like, okay, I have no real friends. I have no one to talk to and I don't know how to talk to other guys. I don't know how to make friends. This video is for you. If you watch this video, I guarantee you will have actionable steps to make quality friends, real friends, not no surface level BS where you're just like casually hanging out every once in a while drinking, or you like sports bet together. By the way, hot take, sports betting. Man, I got too much money on this game, dog. Really stupid, but that's not what this video is about. So the first step of making a friend as a man is not giving a shit about what other people think. The reason I tell you to stop giving a crap, because I ruined like 4 years of friend making potential because I was so obsessed with being liked by people that didn't like me back. I thought they were cool. I wanted to be friends with them. And even though they made me feel like crap, I continued to try to be friends with them because I cared so much about what other people thought of me. Huge mistake. There was a really good chance, especially when COVID hit, that I never recovered from that point on. But luckily I did still have a good handful of solid friends that I could rely on from childhood. One of them being my best friend, Marcus, that I grew up next door neighbors with. Marcus was actually part of the weight loss journey too. Marcus and I were outside every morning during the 100-pound weight loss working out. We would get up, we would walk a mile, run a mile, swim a mile every single day for 4 months in the summer. That's how you get close with somebody, I tell you what. But he and I had already been brothers for a very long time. And that brings me to my second point. Don't just look for surface level relationships, look for a brother. You've probably seen that Joey Diaz clip of people talking to like,
because you don't need 20 friends, you just need 3 motherfuckers and you can take over a country. You give me 3 bad motherfuckers and you're finished. You understand me? You're fucking finished.
Now, this is much easier said than done. And you have to be super careful with who you're talking to and who you're trying to bestow this title of. And I felt very insecure about the lack of number of friends. I, for some reason, thought I needed to have 1 million friends. And because of that, I had a lot of hard time accepting the fact that they didn't really like me. But the greatest thing that came from that was that I had Marcus to rely on. I had a brother. Having 1 or 2 guys that would go to the end of the earth for you, that is invaluable. That, I would argue, is just as important as finding a romantic partner. But doing that and saying that are 2 very different things. So let's talk about my second step on how to make better friends as a guy: being vulnerable. Ew, I know, gross. But it's okay to show a little weakness as a guy. Take a look at all the advice you're getting on the internet right now. It's all about how to make $1 million, how to get a 6-pack, or how to get laid. All of it. Do you see a problem there? That's not what you want. You want to have a family, a life partner, good group of friends, make enough money to support your family, and have a good, happy life. So as a huge antithesis of what everything else on the internet's going to tell you to do, I'm going to tell you it's okay to be a little weak. It's okay to actually show a little weakness or a little vulnerability. You don't have to be this big macho man. Now, I think every man should be strong. I think the meaning of strength comes with something entirely different. That's a different video entirely. But if you want to take steroids, gamble your money, and sleep around with women at the bar, go listen to them. If you want to find a life partner and build a fulfilling life, I would recommend at least trying to listen to me. I was very unlucky with a lot of parts of my life, but one part that I did get lucky on is my parents. I was raised from the beginning to be very open with my emotions as a man. It's a hard thing to do, and it was very uncommon, and honest to God, I kind of got bullied for it relentlessly when I was a kid. But now it's one of my biggest superpowers, because I'm okay with showing you a picture of me crying on the internet. How many other guys are just openly able to do that? You've been taught your entire life, vulnerability weak, emotion bad, weakness bad as a man. But I would argue vulnerability and embarrassment are superpowers waiting for you to tap into. But you have to do it right. There is a very wrong way to do it as well. The way that I was able to do it right was I was able to be open with my emotions and show people what I needed help with. I was able to point blank period tell people how I was feeling in the moment. If I had a problem with one of my friends, I was able to openly tell them how they made me feel. If I screwed up on something and made a massive mistake, guess what? I owned up to it and immediately said what happened and just took it on the chin. I was vulnerable and I got embarrassed plenty of times. But what did I gain from it? some of the best relationships of my life. This is gonna sound a little woo-woo, and those of you that know me personally know that I can get a little woo-woo, but stay with me here. The universe gives you back whatever you send out. It's a mirror. So if you give just a little vulnerability, you open up just a little bit about a mistake you made or a feeling you had, or just showing any level of embarrassment or vulnerability, people are going to reciprocate that. And if they don't, then they're probably not people you want to be making friends with, period. Because they're still stuck in the old man mindset, not today. If you have a coworker or a guy at your gym, if you just drop into casual conversation with him, but you don't know how to become actual buddies, just show a sliver of vulnerability with him. Open up to him about a problem you're having at work or about a feeling you had the other day, or show a flaw. If you can show like, yo, I screwed up here, they are going to show you a mistake. Watch it happen in real time. I promise. If they're a friend worth having, they will respond with a mistake that they made too, because they want to comfort you. That is someone worth talking to, and that might be a friend. But you might be asking, how do I get vulnerable? What do I say? What do I do? How do I initiate that first step? That sounds terrifying. You do it by giving a little nudge. You don't have to start with a giant life sob story. You probably shouldn't, but give a little nudge. Show other people that you're willing to have a conversation. Give somebody a fist bump. Hold the door open for someone. Pick something up off the ground that they drop. Give them a wave. Give them a smile. Ask what song they're listening to. There are a million ways to give a nudge, but people aren't going to reciprocate it until you make the first move. Giving just a little nudge shows people that you're interested in at least getting to talk to them a little bit. And it can lead to some of the most life-changing relationships you've ever found in your life. I've been self-employed for the last 3 years, and I have an assistant. I've been working with this assistant for the last 2 years, and you will never guess how I found him. About 3 years ago, my friend Greg was at the gym. So like 3 years ago, I'm not even at the gym. My friend Greg is lifting alone. He was going through it. He was having a hard day. He had his hood up, his headphones on. You've seen the type of people. You've probably been that type of person. And my now friend and assistant, Grant, walks up to him. They'd never spoken a word to each other beforehand. He's like, hey man, are you doing all right? A little nudge like that. They got to talking. They talked for about 15, 20 minutes. Fast forward 3 years, we're all a super close friend group. Those are some of my closest guy friends in the universe. I love those guys to death. Grant is somebody that I can trust with my business now because we obviously got introduced very shortly after that. All because he was willing to give a nudge. Now, that brings me to my next step. Be open and receptive to the nudges around you. But I will say these are getting more and more rare as social media destroys more and more of our brain. But it's still there. There are still people trying to make friends. You just have to be able to pick up on it a little bit. Is anyone else making conversation with you, holding the door open, making eye contact with you? Reciprocate that. There might be something cool there. This also applies to the dating scene. Recently, there was a study done in 2024 of the trait that most women find attractive. Number one, men being open with their emotions. Crazy, I know. No, but for real, think about it. All the advice that you're hearing on the internet is telling you how to get laid, how to get jacked, and how to get rich quick. They're not telling you how to build a career. They're not telling you how to build a home, and they're not telling you how to build a healthy lifestyle. So if you want to go sleep around with random women at the bar, go for it. But if you want to find a life partner, start being more open with your emotions. Just a little bit. Just with the nudge. Start there, see where things go. And sometimes people are shy, and you're going to find plenty of shy people in the world. Guess what? That's just how people are wired. The last step that I would recommend for dudes trying to make friends with other dudes, ask questions, bro. Just ask questions. Get good at asking questions that aren't just surface level. Don't ask about the weather. Ask about something that they care about. The biggest hack to get to know someone immediately, figure out what they're most passionate about. This works like drugs. I am super passionate about a handful of things: business, fitness, Lord of the Rings, psychology, philosophy. Oh my God, I love Lord of the Rings. If I ever hear somebody talking about Lord of the Rings, I immediately gravitate towards that conversation, and then I make friends talking to people about Lord of the Rings. It's the best. So if you want to make better friends, get better at asking questions to see what makes them tick. You will learn a lot about people. People love talking about two things: themselves and what they love. Get people revved up talking about those things, and they are immediately going to like you more for it. Doesn't this sound a lot easier now? Doesn't this sound a lot more manageable? Doesn't it sound like it's kind of hard to fail? And the final piece of advice I'll give you to make more friends. Once you've gotten out there, once you've started talking to a couple of guys and you got some cool bros coming around, you got some dudes to hang out with now, be careful with the expectations that you set on them. Now, this can sound really wonky and really crazy, but I've seen a lot of relationships get torn apart off of miscommunicated expectations. Basically, all this means, don't put a ride or die brotherhood level expectation on somebody that you met 2 months ago. Give them time. Relationships grow through experience. Once you guys experience more together, once you guys go through more stuff together, then you can test the waters on whether or not that can be the brother from step number 2. So let's summarize a little bit. I've been talking for a while here. Step number 1, stop giving a shit what other people think. They're not paying your bills. They're not feeding you. Why do you care? Step number 2, focus on quality of relationships as opposed to quantity. Rather have 3 brothers than 20 pals. Step number 3, be okay with showing a little bit of vulnerability. It makes you human. Step 4, be careful with the expectations that you set on people early. Let the relationship grow. And then step number 5, the biggest one that I want you to walk away from with this, give people a nudge. Give a fist bump, hold the door open, ask questions, be friendly. You're gonna get way more responses and interactions than you could possibly ever think of. And that's my experience on how to make more guy friends as a dude. I hope they found this video helpful. And one other thing I want to say before I go, it's going to sound cheesy. It's going to sound cliche. You do genuinely have a friend here with me. I know it's through a camera screen, but I do wish nothing but the best for you. That's all I have for you today. A little bit of a different setup this week, but you'll see why here very shortly. If you like this video, tell me which step in the comments you thought stood out to you the most. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. And one more thing, don't feel guilty. Don't feel embarrassed for not having friends when you're a dude. It's harder than ever to make friends, just nobody's talking about it. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's hard to stick your neck out there, but I'm telling you, it's possible. Now go do the damn thing. Keep it simple, big fella.